Okay, well, hey there, this is Alec. This is something I made today. I wanted to go through the process about how I made it. Unfortunately, I had an NVIDIA update. I ran the update and my intermediate files disappeared. Fortunately, I still have the layers that I went selecting. Okay, so let me see, I should have the basic stuff here at least. Okay, so let's move this down. Yeah, here we go. So this is the ending file. I made this because I have some friends which are ardent Trump supporters, and I thought, hey, let's have some fun. I'll send this over to them and see if they like it or not. I hope they don't block me. Anyway, so let me erase this and I'll show the process. Well, unview this. So to start with, I have an empty page and I had an idea about what I wanted, more or less. Okay, so I basically thought, well, what is Trump like? Well, he's like a big splotch. So I drew a splotch and two blue eyes. I think his eyes are blue, I'm not absolutely sure. And this is what I started off with. Okay, then I used some commands in AI generation, and I went refining it. Whenever I use this technique, things look like a cartoon at first, but then they go looking more and more realistic. Okay, and so we can see Mr. Trump. Well, it doesn't look like Trump at all at the moment, but it's getting there, it's getting there. And I kind of liked it. I was thinking about maybe just using this style. I thought, with his big beady eyes, it would be easier for some people to recognize that this is AI. This is not a photograph of either man. Because some people, they find it hard to differentiate fantasy and reality. And so sometimes it's good to go leaving clues in the image. So that way they'll understand that it's not really, no one's trying to pretend that it's real. Okay, so first I worked on his head. I kind of liked how this turned out. And then I wanted him to be like crawling forward. So then over here in this area, I wanted to have like a large hand, like when somebody's like reaching close to the camera. And so that's what I did. I blotched it out, like more or less how I wanted it, and in the position where I wanted it. And then I went refining. It took a while. Every now and then when I use this technique, if there's something I don't like, it's great because you can go in and erase, you can like draw something in. Because, you don't just want to do 100% what the AI generator wants to do. Because is this going to be my thing or our thing? I'd rather it be our thing. I want it to do something. So I'm not a telepath. It's not a telepath. So it's best to go giving it clues about what we want. Okay? And these are the ones that I went selecting. There were a truckload of generations that were just unusable or that I needed to go modifying in order to get the results I wanted. Okay, I think this is turning out well. We have his fingernails, at least. Okay, and then now that I had the, oh my, look at that eye. Okay, well this is not how it was turning out. What I did next is I erased parts of the image that I didn't want, right? And then I thought this was funny. I drew in, his basic position, the clothing he's wearing. And then aside from that, I would also type that into the prompt. Because it's very difficult for AI at times to do exactly what you want. It's like, oh, I want a blue jacket and this and that, but sometimes there's like color bleed. So it makes several things in the image turn out a certain color or a certain, variation of that color. Whereas if you color it in first and then say what you want in the prompt, then it goes respecting what, the commands a bit better. Because it's not trying to create something out of nothing. You're giving it like a general idea. Like when you sit down with an artist, you say, oh, I want you to do this or to do that. It's pretty much the same thing. You just need to be ready to have a general idea and to go putting in a time. Okay? And I'm not too worried about how it can change the hand or the face at the moment because I did each of these on their own individual layers and I removed the background. So once I have the body and the clothing the way I want, I can just stick those on top, It's a whole lot easier to do that than to try to change things in the image and have it not touch certain parts. If there's something you don't want it to touch, just make a copy of it, set it aside, because otherwise you're going to have a bad surprise. And I was kind of liking how they ended up changing his expression. I didn't think it would probably, really recognize who these guys were, but it did. It did. For the most part, And then here, as I mentioned, I put the head that I liked on top, and I did the same thing with the hand, you see? So it's maintaining the characteristics I want. And then you can see how there's like a gray halo around it. Then I went in and I erased that as well. Okay. And then, I had Trump in the front, and then I had like Biden in the back, as you saw at the beginning of the video. So I decided, okay, well, those are the two main parts of the image. So then I decided to start working on Biden. Okay, that's how he turned out, eh? That's not how it started, though. Let's see. Okay, and here is just an independent layer. Usually what I like doing is, once I've made something and I like how it's turning out, I just make a new layer based on the image. So I don't have a lot of floating parts. I save everything, just in case later on I want to make some changes. But I also go modifying things little by little. Okay. Oh, okay. Looks like I had collapsed that group. So, anyway, this is going to go in reverse. I thought I had done all this before I started recording. And also something I like doing, I like working on what's in the foreground first. Because whatever goes in the background is like you're going to be covering it up. So I like doing what's up close first and moving backwards through the image. It's just easier for me. Okay, we don't need that now. I don't know if I'll erase this or if I'll just have it, just go putting things back into the video. Okay, and so just like with Trump, I don't know if I have a copy of this, or why is it not visible? Okay. I knew Biden is thinner, he's further back, so I made the head smaller. And I remembered a term that I saw on the news one time, dark Brandon. I don't know how it went from Biden to Brandon. I don't know that story. I think, or maybe I do. Had something to do with somebody going to a football game and somebody yelling, dark Brandon, I think. I could be wrong. If you're curious, you should go look for it. You can see I live in a box, so I don't know what's going on outside. Okay, so I decided to put Biden here in the background. And I said, dark Brandon. And so it started making his image. And I recognized the top part, but he's blonde and he's glowing. And it looks like he has long hair. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Anyway, so I continued working with that. And it went in a direction I didn't really want it to. So then I ended up having to change it. Later on, I erased the black halo around his head, And I put in a command that I don't want it to be too dark, you know, because that's not what I'm going for. Anyway, here I basically, drew simple clothing, his suit, the way I want him to be. And then so after that, I continued. I wasn't too worried about the image being dark because you can always use color adjustments. And so if he's too dark, I can just, change his skin color once I'm done. Fortunately, it looks like it went correcting himself. I drew a scythe here. I think these were originally used for farming, for reaping the wheat or some other crop. And people relate it to death, so I thought that would be funny. I love this expression. I really love it, but his face is like so off. He's Biden. He's not the devil. Well, I don't think he's the devil. Someone else may have a different opinion. Okay, so I went to advancing this. I had to go drawing on the hands every now and then because I don't know why, but it always wants to give him like 3 fingers. So I would have to go drawing, in here, drawing some lines to make it recognize, hey, there are 4 fingers. And sometimes I would have to erase a 5th finger. That's just the way it is. Okay. Okay, he's taking on a normal color. This is where I erased the halo. It looks like, and since it was dark around the head, it wanted to make his face redder because, when you're in a low light area and there's a colored light, it affects everything. So I think it was trying to reflect that. So once I erased the darkness around his head, it started to put in, more realistic skin tones, which I was thankful for because that's a step that I could skip. Okay. And so then I divided it. Instead of working on the whole thing at the same time, here I was just working on the head. And then here I'm working on, from this shoulder to this hand. Getting it to the way I wanted it. Just pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. And here his hands start to look a bit more realistic, but they're a bit weird. So I kept on working on them. I erased, he had another finger over here. You can see there's still a little bit left, but for the most part I think it's enough. Then I started working on this hand and the jacket part here. Once the hand gets to where I want it, I remove it from the selection, so I'm just working on his clothing. As you can see now, you see the hand is pretty much the same. It's just getting some detail. And now I'm working on the clothing. I changed his possession because it was like twisting his foot in a very strange way, like he had a broken ankle or something. So I changed his position to make it look like he's walking forward. I erased that foot and I put in another one, extended his leg. It ended up off the screen, but hey, we understand what's going on. Okay, here I was working on the scythe a bit in order to make the scythe look realistic. I kind of like how it turned out. Unfortunately, in order for it to change everything together, I had to select the whole scythe, and that got the AI to go modifying his fingers again, so I had to fix that again. Fortunately, up here, I had everything I had made before. So even though it was further back, I went back and I chose the hand I liked, and I stuck it on top. So I didn't, have to do everything all over again, though there was still a bit of work involved. Okay, then here I stuck in Trump. I thought, they look good together. I was thinking about putting in Trump's leg here, but I thought, nah, why am I going to do that? He's a big guy. Not a pound of muscle on him, I'm sure, but he's a big guy, so, you might see a little bit of his knee, but I didn't feel like it would add much to what I was making. Okay. And so then I decided, I wanted it to be like a courthouse because he goes to court all the time and he loses most of the time, which I find interesting. So, he's afraid of, going to court. So I thought it'd be a good place to have his nightmare take place. And, that's how it turned out. I kind of liked it. At the top, at least for my Facebook, I extended the crop and I put in some text, like death. Justice advances ever slowly. I like it. Though for my Instagram and stuff, I don't think I'm going to leave that there because they want a certain aspect ratio. Okay, well, that's how I made it. I hope the audio is working or I'm going to have to do all this over again. Take care. Bye.